When Sister Wives first premiered on TLC back in 2010, fans were captivated by the seemingly harmonious world of Kody Brown and his four wives. The show promised a look inside a faith-based polygamous family that claimed to function on love, respect, and divine order. But behind the smiles, family dinners, and idealistic talk about plural marriage, something much darker simmered beneath the surface. And now, over a decade later, one of Kody's daughters, Mykelti Brown-Padron, is pulling back the curtain to reveal that things were not as they appeared, especially when it came to Robyn's entry into the family. According to Mykelti, Robyn might have been tricked into marrying Kody, misled by a carefully constructed illusion that hid the Browns' true dysfunction. Mykelti, the daughter of Kody and Christine Brown, has become increasingly vocal about her family's complicated history as Sister Wives continues to unravel. What began as a show about unity has transformed into a televised chronicle of heartbreak, jealousy, and emotional collapse. During a recent conversation shared online, Mykelti hinted that Robyn entered the family under false pretenses, and that what she saw before marriage wasn't the full reality. She explained that before Robyn joined the Brown family, everyone was on their best behavior, presenting an image of harmony that no longer existed. The fractures, resentment, and deep unhappiness among Kody's wives had been quietly brushed under the rug, hidden from the new bride-to-be. For years, fans have debated whether Robyn knew what she was signing up for when she married Kody. At the time, Robyn was portrayed as a sweet, spiritual, single mother looking for love and faith in plural marriage. But Mykelti's revelations suggest that the Browns were already a family in crisis, one struggling to keep up appearances for both Robyn and the cameras. She described how everyone, including her own mother Christine, felt pressure to appear united and loving when Robyn came around. The goal was to make the family seem functional, to give Robyn the impression that joining them would be peaceful and rewarding. But behind closed doors, the cracks were already spreading. Kody's relationship with his first wife, Mary, had grown tense and distant. Janelle was quietly frustrated with Kody's leadership and favoritism, and Christine was battling loneliness and emotional neglect. Mykelti admitted that as a teenager, she could sense the tension but was told to smile through it when Robyn was present. In her words, "We were pretending to be something we weren't. Robyn didn't see the truth until after she married my dad." The revelation adds an unsettling twist to Robyn's long-standing position as Kody's favorite wife. Many viewers have accused her of breaking up the family, but Mykelti's account paints a more complicated picture, one where Robyn might have been misled into a role she never fully understood. If the family deliberately hid their problems, then Robyn's decision to marry Kody was based on a false version of reality. She didn't see the fighting, the emotional coldness, or the resentment that would later consume the Browns. She saw a warm, faithful household, a family that promised love, children, and togetherness. Over the years, fans watched that illusion crumble. The once happy plural marriage began to fall apart in real time as Christine left in 2021, followed by Janelle and Mary in 2022. Only Robyn remained with Kody, left standing in the ruins of a dream that had turned to dust. But if Mykelti's claims are true, Robyn was never the architect of the family's downfall. She was its final recruit, drawn into an already broken system. Mykelti's statements have stirred intense reactions online. Viewers who once criticized Robyn for her tears and possessiveness are now reconsidering their opinions. Some argue that Robyn knew exactly what she was doing, that she played innocent but understood the power dynamic she was entering. Others believe Mykelti's story makes sense, especially given how hard the family worked to maintain appearances for the public. After all, Sister Wives was about image from the start. The family was launching a television show, introducing themselves to the world as an example of how plural marriage could work. To admit their dysfunction then would have meant risking everything: the show, the reputation, and the opportunity to shape the public's perception of their lifestyle. Robyn, however, wasn't just a cast member. She was an outsider walking into a family already under stress. She didn't see the resentment Cody's other wives harbored toward his emotional favoritism, and she didn't know that the man she was marrying was already emotionally distant from two of his other wives. Mykelti explained that the family dynamic shifted immediately after Robyn entered the picture. What had been hidden was suddenly impossible to ignore. Christine's jealousy deepened, Mary's loneliness worsened, and Janelle began retreating more and more into independence. The illusion couldn't hold any longer. In one revealing comment, Mykelti reflected that her father, Cody, wanted Robyn to see the best of us. The family rehearsed kindness, politeness, and patience when Robyn visited. The wives cooperated in public and forced smiles during family activities. Mykelti described the atmosphere as tense but polite, saying that everyone knew they were playing roles. It was a performance designed to convince Robyn that this was the kind of loving, faith-driven family she wanted to join. Only later, after her wedding, did she begin to see the emotional fractures that had long been festering. Robyn herself has, in past interviews, hinted that her transition into the family wasn't as smooth as viewers might have believed. She spoke of loneliness and being left out despite being Cody's legal wife. She admitted to crying often, struggling to feel accepted by the other wives. What Mykelti's story adds is context, that the other wives weren't rejecting Robyn out of cruelty, but out of exhaustion from years of pretending. They were tired of the facade, tired of Cody's insistence that everything was fine when it clearly wasn't. As the years went on, Robyn's isolation grew, and so did Cody's defensiveness. He blamed the other wives for being disloyal and accused them of sabotaging the family. But the truth, as Mykelti now suggests, is that the family's unity was never real to begin with. The Brown household was a house of cards, built on performance and pretense. Robyn just happened to be the last person to walk inside before it collapsed. Fans who followed Sister Wives for years see this revelation as the missing piece in the puzzle. It explains why Robyn often appears confused by the resentment directed toward her and why she clings so desperately to Cody despite his obvious emotional volatility. If she entered the marriage believing she was joining a stable, God-centered family, it makes sense that she has spent years trying to fix what was already broken. Mykelti's comments shed new light on Robyn's tears and guilt. Maybe she isn't crying because she feels attacked, but because she finally realizes she was deceived from the start. The timing of Mykelti's statements also raises questions. Why now? With season 20 of Sister Wives painting Cody and Robyn as the last two standing, it's possible Mykelti is attempting to defend Robyn against years of backlash. She's also one of the few children still maintaining contact with both her mother Christine and her father Cody, putting her in a unique position to speak about both sides. But her insight cuts deeper than simple family gossip. It exposes how manipulation and image control have shaped the Browns' public story for over a decade. In essence, Mykelti's claim that Robyn was tricked into marrying Cody rewrites the narrative of Sister Wives entirely. Instead of being the villain who broke the family apart, Robyn becomes another casualty, someone drawn into a complex web of deceit, control, and religious justification. The family she thought she was marrying into was a mirage, and the man she believed was a spiritual leader was, according to many of his ex-wives, a narcissist obsessed with control. Christine once said that Cody used faith as a weapon, using God's will as justification for his decisions. Janelle described feeling emotionally abandoned long before she left him. Mary spoke of being spiritually divorced but emotionally chained to a life she no longer wanted. When Robyn entered the picture, she became the symbol of everything the other wives resented, not because she was evil, but because she was the mirror reflecting the family's dysfunction back at them.
Now, with Mykelti revealing that Robyn was kept in the dark, viewers are forced to re-examine years of on-screen tension. The fights, the jealousy, the endless tears weren't just about Cody's favoritism, but about a lie that everyone had been living. The Brown family story, once presented as a beacon of plural marriage, is now remembered as a slow-motion collapse of a deeply fractured unit. In the end, Mykelti's confession about Robyn being tricked doesn't just expose family secrets, it changes the way fans see the entire series. It reminds viewers that even on reality TV, not everything is as it seems. Behind the cameras, behind the stage family dinners and teary confessions, the truth was being quietly buried under years of denial. And as the dust settles, one haunting question remains. Did Robyn Brown ever really choose this life, or was she sold a dream that never existed?
When Sister Wives first premiered, it sold viewers on a dream of unity and faith. The Brown family, led by patriarch Kody Brown, presented themselves as a modern example of plural marriage done right, full of harmony, respect, and spiritual devotion. At least, that was the story the cameras told. But over a decade later, with nearly every marriage now dissolved except Cody's with Robyn, a shocking revelation from his daughter Mykelti Brown Padron is shaking that picture-perfect illusion to its core. Mykelti has now confessed that when Robyn first entered the Brown family, she didn't see the truth. The family, Mykelti says, deliberately hid their dysfunction, carefully presenting a false front to make everything appear peaceful and loving. In other words, Robyn Brown might have been set up, sold a fantasy version of plural marriage that didn't really exist even then. To understand the magnitude of this confession, one must go back to the moment Robyn entered the family's orbit. The year was 2009, and the Browns were living in Lehi, Utah, already a household with deep cracks forming beneath its surface. Kody was spiritually married to 3 wives, Mary, Janelle, and Christine, and though they smiled for the cameras and spoke about unity, the reality inside those walls was very different. Jealousy simmered between the wives, resentment brewed over Cody's time and attention, and emotional distance was quietly tearing the family apart. But when Robyn appeared, everything changed. According to Mykelti, everyone pulled together to perform a version of themselves that wasn't true. They smiled, they played happy family, and they showed Robyn only the highlight reel of their lives. In recent comments, Mykelti revealed that the family wanted Robyn to see the good, saying that everyone was on their best behavior whenever she came around. She described it as a kind of act, not necessarily malicious, but calculated. They wanted Robyn to believe the family functioned smoothly, that plural marriage brought them joy and purpose. No one wanted to scare her away or make her question Cody's leadership. The wives, even those who were struggling, went along with the performance because they believed it was the right thing to do for the family's image and faith. But beneath that carefully crafted harmony, tensions were boiling. For years, fans of Sister Wives have wondered if Robyn really knew what she was walking into. Many saw her as the manipulator, the woman who broke up the family, the one who became Cody's favorite and helped drive the others away. But Mykelti's recent confession changes the entire narrative. If the family really did hide their dysfunction from Robyn, then her decision to marry Kody was based on a lie. She wasn't joining a stable, loving family. She was stepping into the middle of a silent war. From the very beginning, Kody was enamored with Robyn in a way he hadn't been with his other wives in years. His affection for her was obvious, and it created an immediate imbalance that the other wives could feel. Christine, in particular, was deeply affected. She later admitted that she felt like the family's harmony began to crumble the moment Kody and Robyn's courtship began. But what Christine didn't say at the time was that Robyn had no idea how bad things already were. Mykelti's new comments shed light on that reality, revealing that the older wives and Kody were presenting a false front not only to the world, but to Robyn herself. Mykelti described her father as charming and persuasive during that period.
She said Cody was determined to show Robyn the ideal version of plural marriage, to make her believe that joining them was a divinely inspired decision. He spoke about faith, unity, and the joy of raising children in a large, loving home. Robyn, a single mother with 3 children of her own, seemed to believe in that dream. What she didn't know, according to Mykelti, was that her future sister wives were barely speaking to each other off camera. Even before Robyn joined, there were deep emotional rifts between Mary, Janelle, and Christine. Mary, Cody's first wife, was lonely and bitter about the loss of closeness she once shared with him. Janelle, the practical and independent wife, had long since built her own life separate from the emotional drama of the family. Christine, the peacemaker, was tired of feeling unloved. When Robyn appeared, she became the symbol of everything the other wives were missing: attention, affection, and excitement. But at first, they didn't want to scare her off. Mykelti said they played nice and made Robyn feel included. It was all part of the effort to make plural marriage seem welcoming and functional. The irony, of course, is that this illusion didn't just deceive Robyn. It deceived the world. When Sister Wives premiered in 2010, the Browns looked like a large, functional family rooted in shared values. Viewers saw them smiling, laughing, and eating dinner together. But even as the show introduced Robyn as Cody's 4th wife, cracks were already showing. Christine's jealousy was growing, Mary's bitterness was deepening, and Janelle's emotional detachment was becoming more obvious. The cameras caught glimpses of this tension, but not the full picture. Now, years later, Mykelti's confession fills in those gaps. She explained that when Robyn was dating Cody, everyone in the family felt pressured to be perfect. They believed they were helping Cody make a good impression. They wanted Robyn to see the beauty of their faith, not the exhaustion that came with it. But this perfection act couldn't last. Once Robyn married Cody, the truth began to surface. The arguments became harder to hide, and the wives began expressing their resentment openly. Robyn suddenly found herself caught in the middle of a family that wasn't at all what she expected.
When Sister Wives first premiered on TLC back in 2010, fans were captivated by the seemingly harmonious world of Cody Brown and his 4 wives. The show promised a look inside a faith-based polygamous family that claimed to function on love, respect, and divine order. But behind the smiles, family dinners, and idealistic talk about plural marriage, something much darker simmered beneath the surface. And now, over a decade later, one of Cody's daughters, Mykelti Brown-Padron, is pulling back the curtain to reveal that things were not as they appeared, especially when it came to Robyn's entry into the family. According to Mykelti, Robyn might have been tricked into marrying Cody, misled by a carefully constructed illusion that hid the Browns' true dysfunction. Mykelti, the daughter of Cody and Christine Brown, has become increasingly vocal about her family's complicated history